Do you realize that according to a lot of separate studies, by 2053, the black wealth statistic will be at absolute zero? What's funny about that is the Congressional Black Caucus has gotten progressively richer over the past 30 years. Maxine Waters allegedly is a millionaire. Help me make that make sense. You tired of lies and leftovers? The Real Black Agenda is crushing 3 bestsellers list. Grab it on Amazon or hit the link in my Instagram bio at @TheBusinessBully before they try and silence it. Well, surprise, Roland Martin's mad again. Why is this man so angry? Like, doesn't he have anything to smile about? Let's talk about it. This time, Roland Martin is upset because Republicans are redistricting seats, which happens every single time, one party is in power. They want to make sure that they're able to maintain power. Democrats have done this. Republicans have done this. And my whole thing is, Roland is not upset because of the seat redistricting. He's upset for what that means for his paycheck, allegedly. The truth of the matter is, the real betrayal has not come from Republicans. It's come from Roland himself and the Congressional Black Caucus. Listen, I know what I'm about to say is going to sting and hurt some feelings, but somebody's got to say it. Roland Martin has not been a journalist for the past 15 years. Here's what I mean. We know that he got at least 6 figures from the Kamala Harris campaign. When somebody is paying you that much to sit down, that's not journalism. That is an infomercial at best. And he's profiteering from scaring people into voting one particular way. Go to my iPad. So can you trust somebody that has gotten paid tangibly multiple 6 figures from one particular campaign by somebody who also got pushed into a position that nobody voted her in? And I think a lot of people get confused by that. Kamala Harris did not have any type of primary where she was chosen as the Democratic nominee. Joe Biden was forced to step aside, not resign from the presidency, because he did not resign from the presidency. Had he resigned from the presidency, then of course Kamala Harris would have been the de facto president until such time as an election. That did not happen. They all said, and when I say all, I mean the Congressional Black Caucus, the Democratic National Committee, and of course, Kamala Harris herself, along with Elizabeth Warren and all of the other Democrats, said that Joe Biden was going to focus on doing the work for the American people, and he can't do that and run a successful campaign. And so we just going to let Kamala do it. No voting, no runoff, no nothing. Even Barack Obama said that he wanted the nomination to go to the convention so that there was an actual vote. And then all of a sudden, they walked that back. Again, where has anybody seen Dr. Umar? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? But I digress. The point of it is, if Roland is in the paycheck of Kamala Harris, the Congressional Black Caucus, and allegedly the Democratic National Convention or the Democratic National Committee, can his word be trusted? We can trust that it's going to be one-sided, but we can't trust that there'll be anything that looks or resembles objectivity. Roland Martin loves talking about how he's connected and clicked in with the Congressional Black Caucus, but I'm trying to figure out, and I know he hates this word because let's face it, he's not a foundational Black American. He can't stand the word tangibles. My question is, what tangible benefit over the past 20 years has the Congressional Black Caucus offered Black Americans? I'm really trying to think. But let's run some stats, shall we? Let's go back. I'll spot you 30 years. Matter of fact, I'll give you 31. When it comes to mass incarceration, the Congressional Black Caucus was the loudest voice when it came to pushing the 1994 Joe Biden, Bill Clinton crime bill. You know, the one that turned around and locked us up, 3 strikes. And, oh, what was that? If you have a crack rock this big right here, you're going to do at least 25 years. That's what former President, then Senator Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. of Delaware said on the floor. We don't remember that? and he had the mayors and he had the Congressional Black Caucus go to their particular districts and tell everybody that we got to get behind this, so it makes it look like all the black people really wanted to get rid of the crime. And don't get me wrong, black people did want to get rid of crime, but not this way, where we become disproportionately, almost exclusively locked up by these laws that have not had any type of repair to them, unless you count the First Step Act. And I got issues with the First Step Act, but at least it's something in comparison to what happened. So that's one I can give the Congressional Black Caucus. They tangibly delivered mass incarceration of black people. I don't want to call that a benefit, though. Reparations. The Congressional Black Caucus has asked for reparations. Studies. Yeah, see, they want to keep studying it. I'm sorry. Have you been to a hood? Any hood? I don't care if you're in Watts, North Philly. I don't care if you're on the south side of Chicago. Do we need to study the fact that densely populated black communities are in disrepair, have minimal access to fresh whole foods, have very high crime rates, are either over-policed or have slow police response times, are undereducated, don't have a whole lot of kids that are operating at grade level, let alone reading at grade level? What is it we need to study that hasn't already been studied over the past 150 years? I'm confused, but you can't get an answer for that, because that would look too much like accountability. But according to Roland, the sky is falling. Go to my iPad. Because he can't remember the facts, let alone the disparaging, glaring, disproportionate negative numbers that have happened on the watch of the most powerful, largest caucus in American politics, which is the Congressional Black Caucus. Let's keep rolling. No pun intended. The Congressional Black Caucus. Education. We've got billions and billions of dollars that could have cured homelessness 20 times over. But the education in densely populated black neighborhoods is still subpar at best. But again, putting the cape on for foreign affairs, but not taking care of what's happening domestically. Oh, wait. I got to take that back. They are doing a lot for what's happening domestically for illegal immigrants. Listen, I did not know that Auntie Maxine Waters could get off a private plane so quickly to come back down to California to stand in solidarity with illegal immigrants who, of course, not in any small part, thanks to the Congressional Black Caucus, have gotten education programs, clothing, money, food stamps, cars, training, everything they could possibly need to be an upstanding citizen, except for U.S. citizenship. You don't find that suspicious? Go to my iPad. Addressing the wealth gap. I almost said it with a straight face. I promise you I did. Do you realize that according to a lot of separate studies, by 2053, the black wealth statistic will be at absolute zero? What's funny about that is the Congressional Black Caucus has gotten progressively richer over the past 30 years. Maxine Waters allegedly is a millionaire. Help me make that make sense. If we're going to have smoke for the fact that Nancy Pelosi is arguably the greatest day trader since E.F. Hutton, we also got to talk about Auntie Maxine. And I know y'all love her because she says she's reclaiming her time. Like she was doing a Miss Jane Pittman impression. Oh, I got to reclaim my time. I think black people need to reclaim their time. I'm trying to understand, Roland, why you keep giving your loyalty to them. Oh, of course, most people are loyal to their boss. Duh. And if somebody's paying you, they're your boss. That's how that works. We're not going to talk about that, Roland? It's okay. It's not a problem. I want to keep talking about the tangibles that Roland is so worried about us losing from the wonderful work over at the Congressional Black Caucus. Police reform. Police reform is something that the Congressional Black Caucus has been very, very, very vocal on. But when it comes to action, Not to be confused with Tara Fabulous and Nadine Sutherland. I'm not talking about that song, which, by the way, had me in a chokehold when I was in high school. But I digress. There has been, but I okay, I'm gonna say it. After the death of George Floyd, you would think that we would have had the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed into law. But here we are, 5 years later, like it's Avengers Endgame, and we still don't have that law in place. Where was the Congressional Black Caucus? I know they were paying you, Roland, but where are they when it comes to justice for us? Because you're always talking about how bad police brutality is, but I don't see you cuddling up to your buddies and asking them what they're doing. Now, you do wear some very interesting clothes, and you do a whole lot of dance that make even some of your Alpha Phi Alpha and Fraternity Incorporated brothers cringe when you do it, because you look like a dressed up grimace and something King Joffrey Joe Fur would wear in Coming to America 3 if he was still alive. God bless James Earl Jones. But bro, while you're dancing and bopping around with everybody from Kamala Harris to Hillary Clinton, you're not asking the hard questions of these people, because you don't have any smoke for Democrats. You only have smoke with people who disagree with you. And that in and of itself makes you a very unreliable narrator at best and a joke of a journalist at worst. Roland, I hate to break it to you, that's not leadership. It is cosplay in kente cloth. And quite frankly, a lot of black people are sick of it, including me. Roland, we got to talk about the Boule, buddy. We got to talk about you blue blood, upper crust, Yowza boss, step daddy, shade tree house coons that are benefiting handsomely while the rest of us are trying to figure it out in a real way. You are a gatekeeper, Roland. You dance with the elite upper crust Negroes. You are a step-infested house coon, and somebody needs to say that. And when I say coon, I don't mean C-O-O-N, because that's disparaging. I mean you're a kooky, emotional, weak Negro. Coon, K-E-W-N. You are a kooky, emotional, weak Negro, because you have not done anything tangible, either through action, through words, or by example, to show your strength. Roland, can you do a push-up, sir? One push-up. One, and I don't mean a girl push-up, no diss to girls. I'm talking about the modified push-up that you do on your knees. I'm talking about a straight, planked out, flat out push-up. Can you run a mile, Roland? Because if you really cared about revolution, you might want to start with getting your weight and your high blood pressure under control. Now, I can't prove that you have high blood pressure, but I have talked to several doctors, and they say those black marks on your cheeks are indicative of somebody that may be suffering from hypertension. I'm trying to understand how you could lead any type of revolution when you can't run up the stairs without getting winded. And I get it. Listen, I'm a recovering fat ass myself, but I decided to do something because nobody is fearing someone with no neck and an ascot talking about what he demands from people. But the truth of the matter is, most aristocrats, most talented 10th bougie Negroes are fat. And the reason that they're fat is because they're getting fat off the pain of black people by telling everybody that the African American, foundational black American, ADOS sky is falling, and the only way to save it is to give more money to your alleged YouTube channel that you call the Black Star Network, and of course to continue to vote blue no matter who, even though they have not delivered on any other promises that have led to anything positive in Black America over the past 3 decades. Now, of course, you're going to sit up here, you're going to call me all types of dumbasses, because that's what you do, because you can't back up anything I'm saying. In fact, you're just going to continue to bully people. And the thing of it is, Roland, unlike most people, I can actually take it. What I don't like is when you start discouraging, disparaging, and basically trying to disrespect our young people who are trying to move the ball forward. Now, Dave, what are you talking about? I don't remember Roland Martin bullying any kids. Well, I do. There was a young man named King Randall who in rural Georgia created a program called the X for Boys. It is a supplementary education program designed to teach tangible skills, not just education, but life skills to young black boys so that they can actually live in the world that exists, not some utopian black pride world that only is in the imagination of you bougie, boule, so-called hyper blue blood Negroes. You sat up there and disrespected King Randall, somebody who was maybe 21, 22 at the time, for taking matters into his own hands, raising money, and creating an environment where young black men could thrive instead of rob you. Because let's face it, if you got robbed, you would run. I've seen you run from people that you called dumbasses on your show when confronted by them. And when you didn't run from them, you hid behind women. That's not mannish behavior, Roland. That's, well, as young people would say, downright sassy. But you got mad at King Randall because he quoted the Honorable Elijah Muhammad by saying that one thing black people need to do is do for self.
But what do you mean do for self? What does that even mean?
You knew what it meant. But because you're planned and paid for opposition, the last thing you want is for somebody like King Randall to inspire a generation of young people that are getting up off of their behinds and doing something to rectify what's happening in our communities. Because if young black people got together and started taking responsibility neighborhood by neighborhood, city by city, state by state, then what would the Congressional Black Caucus and all of your DNC buddies have to run on? Because they can't say that they're going to clean up the streets and be active in the hood when the hood has been replaced by thriving, self-sufficient black communities. That would make somebody like you, what's the word I'm looking for, irrelevant, even more than what you are actually. You don't want that, do you, Roland? No, of course you don't. And the last thing you would want is a real black agenda. Because I like to be very, very transparent, I have had dealings and run-ins with Roland Martin. Many have been pleasant. Lately, since I've retired from broadcasting, they have been quite adversarial. Roland put up a post talking about the level of issues that come with people profiting from black people. See, Roland doesn't mind people profiting from black people as long as he's the profiteer. But he did have an issue with Fox profiting off of black people while leveraging their talents, skills, some of which questionable, for things like Tubi. And I said, well, Roland, you've got this Black Star Network. The name in and of itself is indicative of what BET used to be called. That's, back in the day, they had this slogan where they said it was Black Star Power. And his logo kind of looked like that a little bit because, let's face it, you see something, you associate something else with it, and you keep moving. That's why Pepsi chose red, white, and blue, because it invokes Americana. And I said, well, if you feel that way, Roland, why not create a creative and entertainment arm of your Black Star Network? And he said, why would I do that? Because you just spent an hour complaining, buddy. If you're going to complain about a problem, but you're not going to offer any tangible solutions, and you've got this network that is making a great deal of money, not only from YouTube monetizations, but from alleged donations from the DNC, the Congressional Black Caucus. And we know for a fact you got money from Kamala Harris for one sit down and a whole lot of vote for Kamala, vote for Kamala, vote for Kamala. Why wouldn't you? Oh, because then you'd actually have to take some of that money and put it in production and give it to somebody else. And let's face it, you're a grifter with better PR because you haven't done anything tangible but yell and scream. And then you've got your do funny band of merry men and women who will just sit there and yes the whole time. Go watch the footage. I'm not making this up. Anytime Roland says anything, they're just Some of them in dashiki, some of them in weird blouses, but they're all just yep, whatever you say, boss Roland. It doesn't matter, sir. It makes a canals adjust your ascot, sir. And I love your new slogan, unbought and unbossed. How are you unbought? I'm trying to understand. When did the unbuying happen? Was it when you took Kamala's money and just put it in your coffers? Were you unbought then because that dollar then became a rolling dollar? Did you somehow slash your ascot budget when you switched to t-shirts? I'm trying to understand when you became unbought and unbossed, because if somebody is paying you, and especially when politicians are paying you or giving you promotional consideration and you're espousing their talking points, wouldn't them paying you and them telling you what to say make you both bought and bossed? So wouldn't that make you a hypocrite when it comes to what you're wearing? I'm just asking for clarity. Here's my bottom line. And yeah, I do think it's important that everybody gets their hands on the Real Black Agenda, available at therealblackagenda.com. But this isn't about book sales. This is about the truth. Roland Martin is not the solution black people are looking for. He's the cautionary tale. He's proof that being loud doesn't make you effective, connected does not make you accountable, and being bougie doesn't make you a leader. Now, I know there's somebody in the comment sections that's waiting to get their Twitter fingers at me, say, oh, you sitting up there trying to tear down another black man. No, I'm not. What I would like to do is have the conversation. So, Roland, this is an open challenge. You, your Boule people, your Congressional Black Caucus buddies, who bring everybody and make sure you charge your iPad up, buddy, because I'm calling you out. Anytime you'd like to have a real conversation, let's do it. Let's talk about tangibles. Let's talk about the fact that you are bought and paid for it. So effectively, you are the antithesis of unbought and unbossed. Let's have a conversation about what black people need, what needs need to be met, and what that looks like moving forward. Because the difference between me and you is I ain't gonna pick on a kid, and I'm not gonna run from accountability. We know you're not going to run anywhere, but you're also probably going to waddle away from this and say,
I'm not going to answer to that because he's a dumbass.
I'm trying to figure out how a dumbass writes 23 books, has been a college professor, been an educator, built businesses, while you are
Bibbidin.
talking about go to your iPad while telling everybody how the Republicans are racist, as if, I don't know, Joe Biden hasn't been racist. Strom Thurmond hasn't been racist. Like, there's plenty of racists on both sides of the aisle. And if your real issue is racism, then why do you only call out racism when it comes in orange flavor? We're waiting, Roland. We know you won't answer because, let's face it, you like to be a pseudo-intellectual, and the last thing you want to do is challenge a real one. You can do it for clicks. You did it with Dr. Umar because, you were trying to get TV1 ratings up, but you won't sit down with a real one who knows where your bones are buried. If you've got a question for Ask Dave Anderson, you can email me, dave@businessbullyshow.com, DM me @thebusinessbully. Make sure you comment, rate, and subscribe right here, and we'll check you out next time on I Never Knew TV.